For more than 170 years, expos have shaped the course of humanity. One of the main themes at this year's World Fair is sustainability. 192 countries have gathered here in Dubai. They're showcasing innovative ways to use the Earth's natural resources to help turn back the clock on the climate crisis. From harnessing the power of the wind,
each country has enough winds above to self-supply their own electricity demands,
to finding more sustainable alternatives.
Bamboo is a super sustainable raw material. It grows super fast.
From the sun and earth to water and air, we meet the innovators from around the world tapping into the natural elements to create a cleaner, greener future. Towering 115 feet tall and sitting on 30,000 square meters, this is Terra, the name given to the Sustainability Pavilion here in the heart of Dubai's Expo. Sheena Khan spent the last 3 years working on this building. She knows Terra inside out and says it sets a precedent for future architecture.
Terra is a LEED Platinum certified building, which means that it has been designed and constructed to the highest levels of environmental sustainability standard. She's also net zero energy and net zero water, which means you're looking at a building that truly practices what it preaches.
Inside, it's a wake-up call to save Earth. On their journey, visitors are reminded how everyday actions impact the planet. On the outside, Sheena says it's a blueprint for the world. Its purpose is to show visitors how future buildings can be smart and sustainable.
The canopy is huge. It is 120 meters wide. We have 2,752 solar panels sitting atop the 1,700 tons of steel, which help support those solar panels up on the canopy.
Terra's main ingredient, the driving force keeping the lights on, is the sun. Despite being nearly 150 million kilometers away from Earth, it could be the solution to all of our energy demands. The amount of light that strikes the Earth's surface every hour and a half is enough to power the entire world for a full year.
Sustainability is a global problem, but the solutions need to be local. So here in the UAE, it really made sense for us to focus the majority of our technologies around solar, because what we have in beautiful abundance here in the UAE is sunlight.
Terra generates 4 gigawatts of energy per year, enough to charge more than 900,000 mobile phones or power a car halfway to Mars. Some of that energy comes from the 18 e-trees that surround the building.
They're all facing this way because that's the direction that the sun is setting in. So all throughout the day, our energy trees rotate just like sunflowers to face the sun, and it helps optimize energy absorption by 23%.
Solar power is now cheaper than burning coal or natural gas in most countries, according to the International Renewable Energy Agency. In fact, the agency says it's the cheapest electricity in history. The sun isn't just being used to generate energy at Expo. At the Czech Pavilion, they're using the power of our star to create water out of thin air. When the pavilion's Commissioner General, Jiří Petišník, began thinking of what to bring to showcase here in Dubai's desert landscape, he came up with the idea of using the power of the sun to water the gardens that surround the pavilion.
The scientists were very doubtful. Some of them they laughed. But within a few weeks, when they made the calculation, they came and they honestly said, okay, it could work.
It took scientists at the Czech Technical University in Prague 5 years to develop and build Jiří's invention. It's called Solar Air Water Earth Resource, or SAVOR for short.
We are able to harvest water from the very dry air without any additional energy because we have a solar system on the top of the roof, and we are able to create an oasis in the desert.
In simple terms, SAVOR works by bringing in air and separating the water molecules, mixing it with heated air from outside, then cooling it to create the water droplets.
Only question was how many liters of water we are going to produce. I have no doubts about that it will work. And it is working.
SAVOR produces 1,000 litres of water a day. That water is funneled to the pavilion's garden. The unit also uses vitamins and minerals to create drinkable water, an added bonus in Dubai's harsh desert climate where the element is scarce.
I'm drinking the air, so it's not so bad. Ordinary water.
The scientists at the university are developing 4 more types of SAVORs, including a portable bottle that can produce 2 litres of water a day, all by using natural elements that surround us, the sun and the air.
I really do believe that it can make our world better.
The potential of Yirji's invention is that it can provide water all around the world. For other countries who already have access to the molecule, they're finding ways to harness its energy. Since the dawn of humankind, water has been integral to our survival. We've been harnessing it for thousands of years, but it wasn't until the 1800s that we started using it to generate electricity. Well, now, some 200 years on, the Austrian pavilion here at Expo 2020 is showcasing a new device that could revolutionize the way that we generate energy from water. This is iLab, a room that features more than 50 sustainable initiatives from around the country. Solutions ranging from 3D printed concrete to architecture centred on climate control are piquing the interest of visitors. The one garnering the most attention is this tiny display. It's being developed near Austria's largest river. Water is our most precious resource. Hydropower is one of the oldest and most used sources of renewable energy in the world. Still, the energy we harvest from water only scratches the surface of what's possible. 13 years ago, Harold Juritsky brought his daughters to the banks of this spot. What he didn't know at the time was that that trip would change his life.
I can remember very well, ages ago, when my 2 daughters were still very small, we built this model that was no bigger than this, and down there we attached it to a pole, and then we had a look at how much energy is actually inside. And this gave us great insights and basic ideas that we then turned into reality.
This is PowerFlux, an 8-ton buoy designed to work in every major river around the world. Using the water's natural current, 2 blades continuously rotate, generating more than 300 megawatts of energy per year.
This energy buoy works so well that it runs 24 hours per day, 365 days per year. It can supply about 80 to 100 households with energy, around the clock.
Hydropower is nothing new, and neither are the problems that surround the technology. Harold says traditional plants like dams destroy wildlife habitats, harm water quality and obstruct fish migration.
From one side of the river to the other, you have this massive block of cement, which for the ecology of the fish is a harsh incision. The fish can't get up, and it can't get down, so these ecosystems are completely destroyed.
PowerFlux is a safer alternative. According to Harold, it's the only hydropower solution that doesn't damage the environment.
The main reason we don't harm the fish is that our turbine wheel rotates very, very slowly. It's a slow-running engine, which was also the technological challenge to convert this slow rotational speed into energy.
The buoys are strategically placed near the banks of the rivers, allowing ships to pass through unobstructed. The only assembly required is an anchor that connects to the riverbed. Harold spent more than a decade working to perfect PowerFlux, he's now ready for mass distribution.
The goal is to be a worldwide player within the next 10 years, to have one buoy after the other in countless countries, where we can really carry out an improvement of humanity.
With around 7,500 kilometres of coastline, it's no surprise that water is the main theme at the Italian pavilion. The roof is made up of 3 large ships, and the nautical ropes that surround the structure were created using 2 million recycled bottles. Inside the pavilion, water is everywhere.
These ponds, and there are 5 of them, help guide the visitor on their journey through this building. But it's not just for display. The organisers here at this pavilion say this water helps this building to breathe.
Okay, this is the pool number 1.
Yeah.
Biologists Giulia Malocci and Michela Altea brought their research lab to Expo. They're measuring the growth of a green microalgae in the water called spirulina. It's all part of an elaborate and innovative process to produce more oxygen.
Well, we capture the air from the Bulgari restaurant downstairs and we give it to the spirulina in order to transform the carbon dioxide into oxygen.
Giulia and Michela work for Tolo Green, a company from Sardinia that spent the last decade studying the organism. Their research estimates that 150 kilos of the algae can capture as much carbon dioxide as 4 hectares of forest. The two are in Dubai researching to see if the algae can be a successful carbon capturing technique here in the desert.
We're monitoring the spirulina's growth, looking at its length and at its shape, so we can see if it's growing healthy and we can collect it.
Giulia and Michela are using Expo to raise awareness of spirulina by educating the thousands of visitors that pass their lab every day.
Here we have a laboratory from Tolo Green that every day monitors the growth and the health of this algae.
Many of them already know it, but they don't know how many applications it can have. I feel like I'm doing something very useful for the world, for the environment.
We are in the sustainability district of Dubai's World Expo, where countries are showcasing innovative ways of harnessing our natural elements to help power our energy demands. Which brings me here to the Swedish pavilion, where it feels like you're walking through a forest. Around 300 trees brought in from the country make up the building's design. The pavilion is focused on new ways to build a smart society, and one company is turning to Mother Nature to tackle a big problem on our planet. Our reliance on non-renewable resources like oil, coal and natural gas make up around 80% of the total amount of energy used globally each year. Coming up with new ideas and creative ways to use organic, renewable materials is imperative for a sustainable future. Cups, bags, straws, cutlery, these are some of nature's worst enemies. By 2050, experts say there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And that's why brothers Max and Alan Mohammadi are developing a safer alternative made from the earth itself. Their company, Plastic Free, creates single-use items like bags and cups from agricultural waste.
Plastic pollution is a systematic problem. Half of all the plastic that has ever been made has been made in the past 15 years. That is a crazy trend, and if we don't do anything about it now, it will already be too late tomorrow.
Using a patent-pending process, agricultural waste like wheatgrass and corn husk are mixed together with vegetable oil and tree fibre to create 100% biodegradable and toxic-free products.
These bags will break down in a normal environment under 6 months or 180 days. Compare that to 2,000 years for a plastic bag.
The brothers have been working on this technology since 2018, with an ambitious goal to replace 1 billion plastic products by 2026.
The The theme of this expo is connecting minds, creating the future. And the building here, rightfully known as the Good Place, has thousands of ideas about sustainability under one roof.
From electric-powered tricycles in Zimbabwe to solar-powered coffee roasters in Peru, this one especially caught my eye. A man in Costa Rica using bamboo to change an entire industry. Ignacio Barrientos is a second-generation pallet producer with a simple idea: to use this plant instead of wood for shipping pallets.
What is not good about the packaging industry is that there is a huge need of trees and land use. Our position is that there is a better way to use resources and a better way to produce.
By 2024, the number of wood pallets in circulation will reach 5.8 billion. Most are made from hardwood trees like oak and ash that can take decades to grow back.
The reason that we choose bamboo is because bamboo is a super sustainable raw material. It grows super fast. And also because of the carbon footprint, because this bamboo captures 6 times more CO2 than a primary forest.
In case you're wondering about the pesky bugs and pests commonly found in plants, they're removed through a heating process called phytosanitation before going out on the market. While most producers use gasoline and chemicals, Ignacio developed an eco-friendly process.
We have a lot of waste that is part of the process. We use this material and the cuts to produce steam in order to make those heating treatments.
After sanitation, the pallets are assembled and ready for delivery. Ignacio and his team have produced 5,000 pallets, while simultaneously focusing their efforts on planting more bamboo. His team has sown 225 hectares, with a goal of hitting 1,000 in the next few months.
And right now we are working with people in Mexico, Panama, Ecuador and Guatemala in order to try to get farmers involved and to set an industry in those countries.
From the earth below our feet to the skies above our head. One company in Germany is harnessing the power of the wind in a totally new way.
Well, this is the first room that visitors encounter when they enter the German pavilion. And these balls, and there are 100,000 of them, represent an idea about saving our planet. One solution being showcased here is a company called Enerkite.
Oops. This one is much more complicated. I have to control it.
This interactive game simulates flying a kite, and it shows visitors how Enerkite's technology has the potential to harvest more wind energy than traditional windmills. The power generated from wind makes up a quarter of all renewable energy production on Earth. From 2019 to 2020, global wind capacity nearly doubled. Now, innovators are coming up with creative new ways to harness the element. Enerkite's co-founders, Bernard Kampf and Alexander Bormann, say their technology can generate twice as much energy as traditional windmills at half the cost. It works by releasing a single kite into the air. Connected to a tether, the kite moves in the shape of a flying 8. The kinetic energy captured in the sky is sent back down and stored in the generator, ready to be used.
The reason that it is more powerful is that we are flying at higher altitudes. The winds at altitude at 200, 300, 400 meters are stronger than on the ground. They are not disturbed from the obstacles on the ground.
Alexander came up with Enerkite's idea more than a decade ago.
We were inspired by kiteboarders who show in front of our eyes how they can convert easily the wind energy into mechanical energy. And we came to the conclusion that that can be a concept to replace wind turbines.
Alexander first got interested in wind energy when he was 16 years old, working as an airplane mechanic.
I like the power of the wind, and I like also to sense how difficult and challenging and nice it is to control it.
His interest led to a career in aeronautical engineering. He was on a mission to find more efficient ways to channel the wind's energy. Fast forward to now, and after years of brainstorming, he believes he's found the solution.
Each country of the world has enough space on the ground and enough winds above to self-supply their own electricity demands within a kite many times over.
A company in France is also harnessing the power of the wind. Rather than reinventing the wheel, they've turned to an old method of air travel, the hot air balloon, or a version of it at least. It's called flying whales, and the goal is to change the way that goods are delivered. It's 150 metres long and has the ability to transport materials like wind turbines and containers as fast as 100 kilometres an hour.
We can operate everywhere in the world. We don't need any infrastructure at ground. We don't need ports, we don't need roads, we don't need anything.
Still in development, its founder, Sébastien Bourgon, says the vehicle will be able to load up to 60 tonnes of cargo without the need to land, allowing the balloon to transport materials between hard-to-access locations. Here's how it works. While hovering, a sling drops down, catches the cargo and brings it up into the holding space of the massive airship.
This airship is floating, is using very few energy, means it can be electrical, means it has no emission. So no emission, no footprint on ground. We are developing a cargo solution with a very, very small environmental footprint.
A small carbon footprint for something quite large in size. With a background in engineering, Sébastien started the company in 2012. He says these airships are better alternatives than typical transport methods like shipping and air freight, two of the largest producers of greenhouse gas emissions. Sébastien says flying whales will begin test flights in 2024, with the first airship ready to be sold 2 years later. Well, our journey here at Dubai's Expo is coming to a close. We've met people from around the world who are developing technologies to harness the elements around us. From the power of the sun here in Dubai to the rivers in Austria, and from the jungles in Costa Rica to the skies in Berlin. Innovators are rethinking what it means to be renewable, exploring methods to make it happen, and relying on the planet to power us forward.